She's just dated men that directly harm the communities I'm a part of. She's a climate
How?
terrorist. She's a
Oh?
billionaire. And she's also just white, skinny blonde. Period.
All right, up next, it's time for Brad versus TikTok, my segment where I react to the craziest and cringiest ideas going viral on the Clock app. Today, apparently woke TikTokers now hate Taylor Swift. Buckle up and get ready to lose some brain cells with me. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe. And now, let's see what this first fine young individual had to say about the legendary pop artist Taylor Swift.
I feel like whenever it comes to Taylor Swift, I'm just like upset. I'm upset because it's just white mediocrity in extremes. Like people keep gassing her
Oh?
up, and so now she's got an ego conflated with it. And it's just like, not only are you objectively not a good artist, like artistically, vocally, like culturally, she just has not made a musical impact that I can see. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm not. I'm just kidding. But along with that, she's just dated men that directly harm the communities I'm a part of. She's a climate
How?
terrorist. She's a
Oh?
billionaire. And she's also just white, skinny blonde. Period.
So I just learned a new woke buzzword. White mediocrity. Pretty sure a person can just be mediocre, regardless of their race, but okay. Look, you don't have to like Taylor Swift, but she's not everybody's cup of tea. But the idea that she is mediocre is kind of absurd. I mean, just as an objective fact, she's now financially bigger than the Beatles. She's become a billionaire as a musician, which not every musician does. That takes real savvy and entrepreneurialism and real strategic thinking and long-term planning. I just don't get how anyone can look at her and think that she's mediocre. And it honestly sounds like this chick is just discriminating against her and hating on her because she's white and blonde and thin. Like, switch the races there, repeat that back to me, and you'll realize how racist and intolerant that sounds. Also, the idea that she's dated men who've done harm to your community is just silly. How? When? Where? Let me know. And the climate terrorist thing, oh my god, that sent me. Like, what? I mean, I do think that it's kind of hypocritical when celebrities say they care about climate change, but then there are jet setting all over the world in their private jets. But the idea that it makes her a terrorist, come on, that's ridiculous. I'm sure her plane's emissions are not even a blip in the radar of what's happening worldwide. And also, I have some sympathy in that, like, what is she supposed to do? Go and fly and coach around the world with her whole tour and everyone she needs to bring with her? And how would that possibly be safe? What the chaos, the disorder that would cause? I mean, I'm not sure for her it's a super viable alternative to go another way. Regardless, even emitting carbon doesn't make somebody a terrorist, and that is a really ridiculous, hyperbolic statement from this individual. But of course, the ridiculous statements didn't stop there.
I don't know if she's just not having that star status, along with the fact that I see through it. I see the mediocrity. I see the like. And also, just as a disclaimer, that wasn't hate to people who were skinny, blonde, or white. It was more so in relation to like her harm on marginalized communities attached to those privileges and associations. Anyways, I don't even know what artist I would compare her to. Like, there's no one comparable. There's no one who's been that mediocre with that level of success. So it's just like, what do you even do? Like she's giving TikToker artists realness. And that's the truth of the matter, in my perspective, in my opinion. I already feel like the Swifties are going to harass me and she's not going to do anything because she doesn't even care about what she like. That's the other kicker. Like, Swifties suck. And I feel like your fandom is representative of who you are. So it's just like, I don't know.
Yeah, so the last part is really dumb to me. So Taylor Swift, the billionaire and global superstar, is supposed to tell her fans not to harass somebody on TikTok whose video got a couple 100,000 views or whatever. No, babe, you're not even on her radar. And regardless, I don't think you can hold the most extra part of a fan base. When you have millions and millions and millions of fans, you're going to have a small minority or a fringe that is crazy or over the top or aggressive or whatever. I don't know if you can really hold that against somebody, because anytime you have millions of people involved in something, there's going to be some bad eggs. It honestly just seems like this person is motivated by some kind of racial animus against Taylor Swift. Though she did say she liked Demi Lovato, another part of the video I didn't play, so maybe that's not it, but I don't understand. Maybe it's just wanting to hate on the thing that everybody likes and be edgy, but wherever this person's coming from, nothing they're saying makes any sense or has any relationship to reality. But also, some of these TikTokers just seem to hate Taylor Swift because she's wealthy, because she's successful, and because they're just consumed by socialist class warfare or something.
We have got to stop with this. We have got to stop with like this weird, morally driven fan project of trying to argue that Taylor Swift became a billionaire, the first billionaire, by selling only her music alone. That's just like so not true, and I want to go through that really quickly. Number one, let's get aligned on the fact that billionaires should not exist.
No, actually, we're not aligned on that, because I actually think it's good when people, as long as they're not, defrauding people or scamming people or colluding with the government to get massive subsidies or corporate welfare, I think it's good if people create tremendous value for the world and are allowed to reap the benefits from it, especially because some studies estimate that even the biggest, wealthiest innovators only get personally about 2% of the wealth that they create for society. So far we're not aligned, and something tells me we're only going to get less aligned as we go along.
In a functional capitalist economy, in any functional economy, we would not be celebrating any billionaire. There is no scenario in which someone becomes a billionaire by being an artist. You become a billionaire by pushing product at a global scale and by taking advantage of a series of chains of exploitation through human labor. That is how you become a billionaire. Full stop. Number two, I understand what people are saying about the fact that Taylor Swift doesn't leverage her namesake to have certain brand deals that she could. And I have noticed that, and I do appreciate it. I think that it is a brand strategy, but I prefer that brand strategy. Like, I do think it helps you kind of stay connected with her music, but that's not accidental. And that doesn't mean that she doesn't partner with brands. Taylor Swift has like a very white collar approach to brand partnerships. Remember her Capital One partnership, which is still ongoing? Remember how you had to sign up for a credit card to get access to the Eras Tour ticket presale? When you think about the implications of that she is partnering with major credit card companies in order to give people access to her tour dates, that is a pretty major partnership with pretty major implications for her fans. And when you think about the option was to get into that presale or to buy tickets for thousands of dollars, it's a pretty huge incentive for someone to sign up for a credit card and then end up spending money and paying interest on credit card fees.
So there's nothing wrong with partnering with brands, and there's nothing even wrong with partnering with a credit card company. She encouraged her fans to sign up for credit cards, sure, which is actually something they should be doing for their own financial best interests, to build credit, to maximize on points. Just using debit cards for all your expenses or whatever isn't even smart financially. And just because they sign up for a credit card doesn't mean they're going to have to pay any interest or any credit card fees or anything like that. If they responsibly use the credit card, they'll never have to pay huge interest amounts, and that will never accumulate. It's like 100% a question of, like anything, what you do with it. But no, she's making money and working with a corporation, so that must be evil in these people's worldview.
Number two, Target. Any fan of Taylor Swift knows that there has been a Target deal for decades now. Like, you go and you get the Target Deluxe CD to get like that one extra special song, which basically means that you're paying like between $25 and $45 between the CD and the vinyl for one extra song that you can't get on streaming. That is not accidental. That is a product push.
More than one song.
That is nurturing a relationship with your fans, whereby making them spend more money, you are also making them feel like they're a part of a group. That is very, very savvy marketing, and is very, very useful in becoming a billionaire.
Again, I'm missing the part where anyone was hurt or victimized by her selling her music through Target and making extra songs available to fans who bought more expensive editions. Taylor Swift makes money from it and gets to create more music. These people get more access to songs they love and get a ton of enjoyment out of at a price they're willing to pay. No one's forcing them. This isn't food or water or something they have to buy. It's a fair trade. It's a win-win for everyone. But commies on TikTok don't like it, so it must be bad. This lady goes on for many more minutes, but it all really does boil down to them just hating Taylor Swift because she's rich and successful. And you will just never catch me being on board with that kind of rank class envy and class warfare. We got one more woke TikTok hating on Taylor, and buckle up because it's possibly the most deranged one yet.
People are not misogynist because they don't like Taylor Swift. There's this girl going around the For You page talking about you can tell somebody's a misogynist based on the reason as to why they don't like Taylor Swift. And she was like, well, if people just say they don't like Taylor Swift because she's annoying or she writes too many love songs, they're probably a misogynist. Or maybe she's annoying. She might just be to some people. Like, it is what it is.
Yeah, I do agree with this part. Just because you don't like Taylor Swift doesn't mean you're a misogynist, doesn't mean you hate women. Although, I will say that sometimes men seem to really hate Taylor Swift for no real apparent reason, and it might just kind of be that a lot of women like it, so they think it's cool to not like it. But no, you're perfectly allowed to not like Taylor Swift, not enjoy her music, and that doesn't make you sexist. I agree so far.
But I can tell you why I don't like Taylor Swift. One, she represents something that she's not, right? She shows herself to be this feminist, this person who cares about women. You know, she's a girl's, but she's not. I've never seen this woman cater to a movement that did not directly impact her and her money.
So now you're just being ignorant. I mean, I wish she'd just stayed out of it all entirely, but Taylor Swift actually has waded into politics and fought for LGBT rights as she sees it, right? And weighed in on that issue. That doesn't affect her. She's not lesbian, she's not transgender, she's not gay. So you're just wrong.
Taylor Swift is a good example and representation as to where we have words like white feminism. We literally have to go and talk about stories of women of color facing different atrocities and problems than white women, because white women in feminism often neglect to talk about our side, and Taylor Swift is a great representation of that. Now, this is not necessarily Taylor's fault, but that one guy came on here on TikTok and said that she was bigger than Michael Jackson. That shit pissed me off, bro. And ever since then, I was like, you know what? I like Taylor Swift way less than I didn't like her before. And finally, my last reason for not liking Taylor Swift is because I'm envious of rich people. I don't even want their money. I just want rich people to be poor.
Oh? I mean, bonus points for honesty, I guess. But if you just hate rich people because they're well off and you just want them to be worse off, even though it has no impact on you, I mean, that's really kind of evil, kind of sick.
Like, be real. People are not misogynistic just because they don't like Taylor Swift. She's an infamous artist for a reason. A lot of people don't like her just because she's probably really annoying. And I'm telling you this as a person that has 4 of her songs in my Apple Music because they were bangers. But I also don't have respect for what she did in the Gaza situation either. She's clearly choosing her side, and she's choosing to be a rich white woman, which is never the example of feminism in my eye, because I'm quite the opposite.
Again, like, it's giving anti-white racism, honestly. And just, shut up about the whole Gaza thing. Like, she doesn't know anything about it. She's not a geopolitical analyst. She's not a foreign policy expert. She's not somebody with familiarity on the tactics and ethics of war. Let her write pop songs. Just stop. All right, guys, I can't handle any more woke Taylor Swift haters without incurring permanent brain damage. And I'm coming at all this from not even a huge fan, just somebody who I've had some criticisms of her in the past, but I'm not a deranged hater. Anyway, what did you think of all this? Did you agree with any of it? Did you lose brain cells with me? Are these people delulu? Let me know in the comments, and don't forget to hit that like button to reward me for my suffering, and maybe even consider subscribing and sticking around.